Hey, everybody. Rebecca Matthias here. Super excited to be live from Florida, coming to you talking about proximity is power, and it can really make all the difference in the world. So I am going to find a place to sit down so I can talk to you. I'm not sure if it's going to be too bright out here or not, but it is feeling awesome to be in sunny Florida. You can, well, let's see. Can you see the sky? A little bit. You can see the reflection. I'll show you the palm trees. It's so nice out here. I don't know if you can see. So if you're just popping on, say hey, post your comments. Hey Tracy, how are you? Welcome, welcome. Post your comments in the box there. I want to hear from you. And also I want to answer your questions. So post your questions there. Hey Rhonda, how are you? Good to see you. Hey Melissa. So what we're talking about today is how to gain the power to walk away. Hey Amy from Spain. Hey Crystal Dawn, how are you? How to walk away from any situation that doesn't serve your highest good. Thank you. Why proximity really is power. I was just asked this morning on my Q&A call for the School of Feminine Fortune. Hey. And someone was asking me, like, how do you put yourself in proximity with people that you want to be around, that are like further along the success path with you and that sort of thing. So say hello in the comments if you're just joining us and you have a question about anything that you see. Yeah, so lovely to see you too. You can come back and watch the replay. But anyway, so I want to hear from you. I want to hear your questions. Like there's one of my students this morning was asking about how do you put yourself in proximity with other people, like how do you get to be around really like A players and people who are going for it and high achievers and people who are up to really great things in the world. And so I'll answer that in one moment. And then finally, what is feminine fortune and how you can get it. So we're going to go over all of this. Awesome, Amy, sounds great. But I want to hear from you. I want to hear your questions. So post your questions and your comments in the box in the comment section. And also feel free to share this with your friends. So you can, I believe, go to the upper right-hand corner, which is your upper right-hand corner there, I guess, and share this to invite friends to this live, which is exciting that we have that technology, right? And so anyhow, so the first thing that I will cover with you is about how to gain the power to walk away from any situation that doesn't serve your highest good. Hey Monique, welcome. And let me see if I can get this placed over here and then you guys can see me a little better. Ah, that's much better. All right, so looks like there's a lot of headway here, but it's all right. That's maybe see if I can pump it down a little bit. That might be working better. All right, now you can see the beautiful sky and the palm trees. Even better. Woohoo! Hey, Christy, how are you? All right, so here's the deal. Women have a lot of trouble speaking up for themselves and speaking their truth. So it's not in any service to anyone if you're in a mastermind relationship or a friendship or anything like that. Hey, Danielle, how are you, love? And you're not telling the person like, hey, this isn't working for me anymore. Or, so we were just talking about this morning, even somebody who's like, hey, let's go to coffee, or we should mastermind together, or we should network together, or we should do a live event together, or anything for that matter, that you have to be really connected with what's true for you and be really clear about what are your boundaries and so on. So if you are looking to do a mastermind collaboration, you know, in the coaching industry especially, we talk about a client requirement checklist. Well, do you have a mastermind partner checklist? Do you have a team player checklist? Like, women love checklists. We do. So you want to make sure that you are, I'm just going to tilt that a little bit and see if it works. But you want to make sure that you are clear about what it is that is a non-negotiable for you. And if you don't know yourself, I tell my students and my clients all the time that self-knowledge is one of the most powerful forces on the face of the planet. So if you don't know yourself and you don't know what's going to work for you, what isn't going to work for you, even your unique learning style, like women can tend to get put in these boxes where it's like, well, everyone else is doing this, so I should probably do that too. And that's not true, right? You have to do you. Like, what's unique about you and how are you going to do you? So getting clear on those things, and then be willing to speak up about it, right? So like if you're, let's say you're at a live event, right? And you meet this person and they're amazing, but they're kind of like not where you want to be stretching yourself to, that whole proximity is power thing. Then what you want to do, and if you're just tuning in, please say hello and put your questions and comments in the questions and comments section. I would love to hear from you. So then they go and they say, yeah, sure, that sounds great, or we'll connect on that, and then they never follow through on it. And what I want to say is that if you're a business owner or an entrepreneur and you really want to be playing a big game, you need to treat your business like a professional business. And making promises and not fulfilling them, or just saying something just to say it, is not the way to demonstrate to yourself, to other people, and to the universe that you are an A player, that you are here to show up, and that you're serious about building quality relationships that are from a place of consciousness and connection and authenticity and vulnerability, and that you have to show up in that power in order to really demonstrate, just not to yourself, because you're building self-trust too. Women struggle a lot with trusting that they've made the right decision, or trusting that they're doing the right thing, or they're heading in the right direction. And there can be a huge discord internally if you do not have this feeling inside of you, and this confidence, and this, hey girl, I've got your back, or I know I'm doing the right thing here, or I know this feels a little scary, but I'm gonna take this leap and do it anyhow. And trust that I am making the right decision, and also trust that, hey, if I didn't make an effective decision, I like to use effective versus right and wrong, that if you didn't make an effective decision, that you would then be able to take care of yourself in course correcting. One of the things that's been really fascinating to me lately is women in the entrepreneurial communities, and it's like, how much money do you think that you should invest to achieve the results that you're looking to achieve? Because a lot of people will go in and they'll say, well, I spent this much money and it didn't work out, or I spent this much money and I invested this in my business and I didn't get results. And it's like, do you think that you're just going to invest $10,000 or $20,000 or even $40,000 to become a multiple six-figure entrepreneur, and that PS, you're not going to make investments that you learn more from than have a monetary return on investment for? Because that is what entrepreneurship is. And if you can't endure 24 hours, or you can't endure a $20,000 investment, then it's kind of like logical here, right? Like if someone wants to open up a spa or a salon or a restaurant, think about how much money is required. So there's a huge disconnect from here to the logical world with entrepreneurs, where they think that they're just going to be able to like fly by the seat of their pants and not have to make an investment emotionally, intelligently, and financially in growing their business and getting the results that they want. A restaurant owner wouldn't be like, look, I'm going to get the tables and the chairs, but not the food. And then once people show up, then I'll buy the food. It doesn't work like that. So why would you think that it would work like that with entrepreneurship? So I'm just going to refer over here to my computer to make sure I got the right notes for you guys. So how you would walk away from a situation is, as a woman, we are more connected with our feelings. And to be able to stay connected to our feelings, where vulnerability lies. And vulnerability, according to Brene Brown, is the birthplace of creativity, connection, and authenticity. So if you get quiet and you listen and you identify, what am I feeling right now? Are you feeling frustrated because you can't control the direction of the relationship that you want to walk away from? Are you really frustrated with yourself? A lot of times I find that if I'm frustrated with someone else, I'm frustrated because I didn't speak up for myself and ask for what I really needed, or create the right boundaries that I needed. So like, a lot of times you might give something to someone, whether that's money or something else, and then you get annoyed because they're being ungrateful, but in the beginning you didn't really want to give what you were giving. You weren't really honest with yourself about how you wanted to invest your time. So again, going back to that self-knowledge is power. So if you do need to walk away, like let's say it's a mastermind collaboration, for example. And again, I want to hear your questions, ladies. I want to support you. I want to coach you. This is an opportunity to get really fabulous advice and coaching while I'm here with you live. I'm going to be doing more of these lives. I've got my whole team on board with this now, so we've got a whole streamlined system going for doing these lives where I get to just be supported and show up and work with you and support you and love you and help you to excel on your own path of personal and professional development. Yeah, totally. And nobody gets to be over learning boundaries, Christy. You're always learning boundaries. I'm still learning boundaries, right? Because the more you learn about yourself, the more you can learn about your boundaries. You can't learn about a boundary you have until it gets broken most of the time, right? So it isn't until like, oh man, that happened and I didn't want that to happen, until you recognize, okay, now I know that I need to have this boundary in place. So typically it works that way, where your boundary will be broken, and then you'll get clear on, this is not acceptable, or this is not a negotiable, or here's what would work for me going forward. So here's how you would disengage. This is what we would call carefrontation, and this is not something I invented. It's well known in the communication world, right? So you would sit down, or you would have a phone call, or you would set a time to talk to whoever it was. And again, as far as how do you conduct this conversation, depending upon what you're walking away from, it's going to be a different kind of conversation. Like if it's a mastermind relationship, it's one thing. If it's a romantic relationship, you're going to have a different kind of conversation. So, yeah, listening to yourself, absolutely. Everything is a learning experience, and it is designed to cultivate and sculpt your character. So if you start seeing through that lens, it's not like, oh, I have to become a victim, or I have to become a bitch in order to get my way. Then you get to be in your power and say, here's my truth, and this is what's going to work for me. And in some cases it might be a negotiation, and you take into consideration what the other person wants to do or what's going to work for them, depending upon the situation. Like with your kids, there's probably a little less negotiation room. I know for me with my boys, it's like, hey guys, here's how we run the household, and this is what I'm needing from you, or whatever the case may be. So, but the first step is to get quiet. The second step is to listen and get in touch with your feelings, and then even perhaps journal out or map out some bullet points of what do you need to do first. Like depending upon who it's with, what the relationship is, do you need to set a time for a face-to-face, or do you need to set a time on the phone, or do you need to simply send an email, or do you simply need to fire a particular team member? What is it? But shying away from it will only perpetuate the problem. Procrastinating and not taking action will only perpetuate the problem, and it is not a demonstration of you showing up as a powerful woman. So this is an opportunity for you to build that rapport with yourself, where you are literally demonstrating the, hey girl, I got your back. So if you demonstrate I've got your back, then you have to take the action to follow up with I got your back. Otherwise, you've disconnected on building that inner trust that no one really sees, but it does show up in a lack of confidence. The second thing is why proximity is power. One of the things that my student asked me this morning, where she was like, are you actively seeking the people that you've connected with that are really doing great and amazing things in the world, or are you, waiting for them to come to you? Everything is a masculine and a feminine energy, right? The masculine is more of a take action, moving forward, proactive. The feminine is more of like the sitting and allowing, sort of like if you think about what's all going on for a woman in her body when she's creating a baby, when a baby's being, cooked in her belly, if you will. So what I would say to this one, hey Darieth, how are you? Don't you love the weather here at your house? Speaking of proximity is power, Darieth is one of my former apprentices and was an associate coach in my company, and here I am at her house hosting my next apprentice retreat, and I'm going to pick her up at the airport tonight. So what an incredible power player. Emmy Award winning TV show host, author, speaker, coach, amazing woman, truly an amazing woman. So that would be an example of like me just showing up in the marketplace and being my authentic self. And like last year, let's see, 7-8 months ago, Darieth submitted an application to become one of my apprentices. And quite honestly, all of the apprentices that have applied to work with me in my company and learn from a mentor and really be mentored under my wing and learn everything, they did, most of them showed up and my jaw hit the floor. I was like, wow, this person is showing up, or this is amazing, and I really feel humbled and grateful and appreciative to be working with women of this magnitude. So part of it is, who are you becoming? What's the congruency in here to begin that attraction? But there is an action step that needs to be taken. So for example, being here in January in beautiful Miramar Lakes, I've been reflecting on warm energy really infuses me and makes me feel amazing. And last year I was in Palm Beach at the Tony Robbins 5-day business mastery training. The year before that I was in Marina Del Rey in Santa Barbara. And I made a decision that warm weather for a portion of January is a non-negotiable going forward. I haven't done it as intentionally over the past couple of years, but it's definitely a non-negotiable. And so one of the things that happened last year at the Tony Robbins event was I was sitting there, and he had, he was calling on a couple of people, and this one woman he called on, and I heard her say Annapolis, Maryland, which is near my hometown. And I was like, ooh, my ears perked up. And the woman owns one of the top 200 salons in the country that, look at my hair, is so amazing. And I just got it done the other day at my friend Cindy's salon, Progression Spa and Salon in Rockville, Maryland. Freaking amazing. The best my hair has ever looked, felt. Love going to Cindy's place. And what I love a lot is that she does personal development for all of her employees there, which I think is amazing. And I met Cindy at the Tony Robbins conference last year. So you want to talk about proximity is power. And I just adore her. I adore her mentorship. I adore her wisdom. I've developed a friendship with her. And so, but immediately as I heard this Annapolis thing, the group I was with was going to lunch, and I'm like, meet you guys there. I'm going to talk to this lady. So I went over to Cindy. I introduced myself, and I said, look, I would love to get your number and meet up with you when we're back home in the cold weather. And that's exactly what we did. I was able to meet Cindy, and I've met with her several times since then in the past year, and have become a regular client at her salon just because they do such a phenomenal job. And I did a speaking presentation at her salon as well. So you take action, and you never know what's going to happen from it. And that's the big key, is that a lot of women will hold themselves back and they won't take action. Like even making cold calls, for example. A lot of times when you do that, the effort you put out will come back to you multiplied, but it might not always come back from that channel. So just setting an intention to be around bigger, more A-player, power players, people who are doing amazing things in the world, and then you start pursuing in one direction, and someone may show up in your periphery. So don't forget to pay attention to the miracles and what shows up in your periphery. So feminine fortune, what is feminine fortune? I believe that feminine fortune, and we'll be defining it again, we defined it in my apprenticeship last year for our retreat in May, and this weekend during the apprenticeship we'll be doing that again. It's a really powerful thing, and I would encourage each of you to do it, and then even post in this thread. I would love to hear from you even now if something pops in your mind, like what is feminine fortune to you? And so for me, feminine fortune is really being fulfilled in all areas of your life, and not self-sabotaging to have one area fulfilled and another area not fulfilled. One of the courses that we have in the School of Feminine Fortune is called Successful Women in Healthy Relationships. And the reason why I created that course is because I've seen a lot of power players make a lot of money and be miserable in their love life. And I've seen a lot of people who are so fulfilled in their love life, but they can't make the money piece work. And ladies, it is time for you to take a stand to have both. Yes, empowered freedom. And most people, Michelle, equate freedom with money. So it's all good. But, oh, thank you. I appreciate that. So, and it's also, for me, feminine fortune is not being at odds with yourself. It's loving yourself and having compassion for yourself and showing up for yourself, right? Like taking a stand for walking away, being in your power, and lovingly walking away from relationships that don't serve you, whether that's a mastermind relationship or whatever. So I encourage all of you to really get clear on what your own definition of feminine fortune is. But it's not just money in the bank for women, right? It's so much more. It's having emotional intelligence. And that's what the School of Feminine Fortune is really about. Like time freedom course. You're going to get out of time drama forever. You up leveling. You're going to know how to reach the next level without sabotaging your growth. And the ego can be sneaky, right? Like there are ways that sabotage can show up that you will like, I never imagined it showing up there, and being aware of how to catch that beforehand so that you don't, go and backtrack and into a previous version of yourself. So I really encourage each and every one of you to define what your own feminine fortune is. The way that you can get feminine fortune is to contact me directly, and we are now selling the individual courses in the school. So you can get into the school. It's a 12-week thing. You can take as many courses as you want. So happy to see you. Yes, totally. I know. It is all the fortune in life, Derry. That's amazing. So, and I'm super, super excited to spend the next couple of days with you. It's going to be so fabulous. But you can go and you can sign up for one individual course. You get 12 weeks of live group Q&A with me, where we'll laser in on what's going on for you uniquely. But you can, if you want to learn about how to be a successful woman in a healthy relationship, in your business relationships and your professional relationships, that's the course for you. If you keep having time drama show up, then the time freedom course is for you. But you can get into choosing these individual courses, and you get to pick, right? You're only paying for what you need instead of buying a whole program of stuff that you don't even need and wasting your money. One of the ways that a woman can have financial freedom and feminine fortune is not just by spending less and making more, yes, but it's also by being strategic about the investments that you do make. So with that, I will leave you, and I'm going to enjoy my sunshine and the beautiful outside. Have a great rest of the day, everybody. Lots of love.